Gentlemen, how you going? Let's get into it. So there were a lot of great responses from yesterday's chat. Really had a good time. I won't be able to get to all of them just because there were so many and so many detailed ones too, which fantastic. Because even if we're not, I don't have time to show it in a video or respond to it. I'm pretty sure from the responses I get that most of you guys enjoy communicating with each other in the comments section and being able to read and share experiences and mentor each other. It's really good, and I'm really grateful for the subs I have. So keep it coming, guys. But just letting you know, I wasn't able to get to all of them just because there's just not enough time. One thing I need to address first is last super chat, last live chat. I forgot to acknowledge Eric's super chat question, which if you send me a super chat or donation with a question, I feel awful that I've missed it. It wasn't intentional. It's because I was concentrating on a point I was describing, and then, the messages just disappear up the screen. So I missed your question, but not intentionally. Eric said, do you believe that the crap test women put men through is done intentionally or subconsciously? I think it's instinctual, so probably subconsciously, but I think if you ask them and acknowledge that what they're doing, like you'll say, you know what you're doing, don't you? They'll smile. If you kind of press them, they know what they're doing, but I think it's instinct first, but they're fully aware of what they're doing. So, yeah, there were a lot of great questions and responses in terms of advice you might be able to give yourself. The older you, say you've gone through something now and you wish you'd listened to your instincts in the past, and kind of now you've really solidified and clarified, if this ever happens again, I'm never doing it again. And if another person or a friend of mine went through this, I would really say this to him because of the experience and things I've learned. And I was thinking about what specific advice, on the back of yesterday's video with me describing trying to console and give advice to my good friend. And before I could suggest it, real names not given actually started giving a few of his own ideas, which I thought, this is great. And this is encouraging me. I shouldn't encourage this video, a live video, for people to give their own suggestions. He said his suggestions for talking to yourself, as though whether it's yourself or your friend trying to help him out, was test her love, feign an economic disaster and see if she leaves. I remember when I was young, I used to always, whenever I went on dates, my dad had a normal family car, nothing expensive, but he had an old rusted bomb. I would go out on dates all the time with my old dad's rusted bomb, just to kind of see how materialistic they were, or if they'd have a sense of humor about it and they wouldn't think twice. My sister always said to me, stop turning up in the old rusted van. And I said, well, that's my test. Someone can, a woman probably doesn't even know it, but if you turn up in a nice car, or if you turn up in a suit, she's going to create her own fantasy of your potential, or who you are, or who you should be in her mind. It may not be, she might not be nefarious and, planning something out, but these little tests, just to make sure naturally that the person has the values that you have, so you don't have to worry down the line. It's a good thing to do. Logic loop, which someone you love use an ultimatum on you. I always say this too. Yeah, exactly. Would you do this to someone else? What does it show? I mean, would you do this to someone just casually, a person on the street? The answer is no. Like, what gives me the right to push and ask for someone beyond their boundaries, let alone someone who's supposed to love and care about you? If you've got a sore spot, I told my friend when I caught up with him, I said, you've actually been open and said, I really don't want to get married and these are my fears. I don't want to be a father. And you've actually described to her, here is my sore spot. And you said, don't touch this, please. I'll give you everything else. But she can't help but do this. No, I want to touch that sore spot. So if someone can't respect the 1 or 2 or 3 boundaries you say, I don't want these. These are my sore spots. I'm being open and honest with you. I'll give you everything else, but not these. But they can't help doing this. They don't respect you. They don't love you. They don't even see you. They just see their needs. Ask your friend or ask yourself, what are you risking and what is she risking? That's a big thing, because the instinct is, oh, we don't need anything as men, so we don't care about our needs. It's, oh, she wants all of this, and that's natural. Women want to get married, they want to have children, they want all this, but we don't actually see how massive that is, how much we're giving of ourselves, our lives, how much we're working. And then when you look on balance, what is she giving in terms of herself? Yeah, you can say she gets pregnant and she gives you a child and so forth, but it's not your child, and it's only your child insofar as she allows it to be your child. You only get the children she gives you. But yeah, really take a look at what's she giving as opposed to what you're giving. And there's no use saying, well, I'm a man, this is what I'm supposed to give. But if it's so far out of balance, it should give you pause. Observe how she treats other people. That is fantastic, especially if you're out. Notice how they talk about the waiters and waitresses, whether they complain about ridiculous things like their food, the kind of cutlery, it's not hot, it's slightly warm. Like, they're really pedantic and they're picking on everything. Don't ignore those things. It's not cute. Do you want kids? Do you want kids with her? And can she even bear kids? And he mentioned something I've made a video on. I think it was like a very early video of mine, where I said, men invest in what men love, they invest in. And how is she invested in you? That's an important thing. Your engaged friend may not come to the same conclusions as you in that event. Support him as best you can. The difficult part is finding acceptance. Yeah. And he said, when all else fails, ask Spetsnaz. I agree. When in doubt, ask Spetsnaz. For those of you who are old enough to appreciate the movie, the Sylvester Stallone movie, Cobra, I always remember that. Call in the Cobra when all else fails. Eric W. said, the marry me or I'm out of here ultimatum is a common ploy and is perhaps the most significant attempt to coerce and control that one can exert upon another, and it's often framed as though they're doing you a favor. That's very important. Like, when you feel awful and you don't have time to think, you think that you're the bad one. You're doing them a favor. They're being kind and you're just being obnoxious. Pause. And if they don't allow you to pause, think about why you can't take time to make a decision, why you can't say no, why you can't give your opinion. They're not giving you time to make a decision. They want you to sign on the dotted line. Then afterwards, it's like, oh, well, you did it. No one forced you to. Oh, yes, they did. You pressured for time. APRC, there is only one person who will always be on your side, yourself. So take a step back before sacrificing yourself to others. Yes. Quickly, let me just go back to the stream. Thanks, Arise. Are good girls bad in bed? If so, why? In my experience, yeah, a few. Actually, more than a few. I think it's if they were sort of very constrained when they were growing up, an overbearing parent, religious household, and then they kind of want to break free. Don't they say that an overwhelming proportion of the porn industry is, girls that were brought up in a very strict religious, southern even, household, and it's this kind of rebellious nature of the child, not allowed enough freedom to grow, to be themselves, basically with a gag over their mouth. So yeah, Probably many reasons, but yeah, a lot of them just weren't allowed to be themselves, weren't allowed to express who they were, and so they go overboard when they finally are allowed to, when they leave home or when they're not around the parents. Back to the great responses. Gerard has said, when anyone gives you an ultimatum, they are putting a gun to your head. Exactly. Figuratively, they are. It's nothing else. You can excuse it, like my friend is, and saying, oh, but she's nice, oh, but she's this. Do you do anything approaching that? Give her such a massive ultimatum that's so shameful. It's so blunt and rude. Women tend to do this fairly easily. You're not going to wear that, are you? Oh, you look awful in that. Like, they're just blunt, and it probably comes from them growing up with other girls in the schoolyard where they kind of backstab each other, and they use the weapon of shaming and ridiculing each other behind their backs and thinking nothing of attacking you and making you feel awful as a person. It's nothing to them. It's the game they play. But with men, we've got this kind of code of honor. We know it can escalate to a fight. So we've got more civility and a respect and honor code between us, not so with women. And when we're in love with this little girl, we think she's the softest thing around. No, she's a wolf in sheep's clothing most of the time. Gerard says, my ex gave me the marry me or I go line. There is only one logical, sane response. Exactly. Thanks, Brad. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say Islam is right about women. I don't necessarily agree, Brad, because I kind of see the amount of work Islamic men have to do for like 7 children, and their wives live in luxury and all the benefits they get. So in terms of having a sort of a calmer life, yes, but a man does a hell of a lot of work out of balance from what I've seen. Brain stew, thank you. Women make calculated decisions. Why shouldn't we? Exactly. Especially because men are built for calculated decisions, but we switch it off when it comes to women. Ask the good questions. Filter out those who aren't worth it. After all, you are worth it. You are, but I hate that slogan now because women use it in their cosmetic ads. You're worth it. I agree with you though. I would tell my younger self, this is by Mr. S, I would tell my younger self, don't sleepwalk through life. Really try to live your potential. Take college more seriously. Take chances. Yes, calculated, recoverable chances. And make a lot of money so you'll be financially free when you're older. Make enough money that you'll be financially free. Be sensible. Keep saving enough, incrementally trickling. Don't live beyond your means. Don't pursue things and spend money and work so hard really when it's for others. You can fool yourself easily into thinking, oh, it's for me. I'm buying this Ferrari for me. But if you kind of ask yourself the question, if women didn't exist, would you buy a Ferrari? Honestly, you'd be like, no, I like performance cars, but I wouldn't necessarily need a Ferrari. I could buy a Toyota 86 GT, or just I could buy something that would satisfy that, but wouldn't be so ostentatious as to attract conveniently the attention of women. Richie G, what would you say to your friend or confidant in this situation? Is a powerful tool to exercise those irrational but real, and exercise as in exorcism, not exercise as in exercise. Is exercise those irrational but real and heavy feelings weighing you down? Because they're very heavy. As I said, when you're weighed down by the Goliath of emotion, whether it's grief or love, logic is just kind of like, yeah, whatever. It's a distant noise over the horizon. It's like, did you hear a bird over the horizon? Yeah, I think so, but who cares? Back to love, back to grief. A useful callousness comes with sympathetic advice. This is very important, the tough love. For men that actually appreciate tough love, it's very, very useful. The people who are like, oh, yeah, but you're making me feel bad, those people might need to experience some pain before they make a better decision in the future. So some people just need to, it's like the Matrix, you need to see it. You need to experience it. It's all, oh, you guys are too hard on women, which we're not. We're just trying to we're trying to be good to ourselves. I don't agree with being hateful to anyone, including women, but we're not being overly cautious. If you've experienced a lot of the same thing with different women, no matter how nice you've been, then you're observing reality. The thing is to calibrate now yourself, which I'd like to see more of in the manosphere, not so much about women. Yeah, useful callousness comes with sympathetic advice. Remember it in times of emotional turmoil. Mike says, when a man is truly ruled by lust, it is almost impossible to use logic and reasoning to advise him of the suffering ahead. Exactly. I'm trying to talk with my friend and trying to get him to realize those light bulbs himself. I can't force those elucidations, those light bulbs, the aha moments to him. He resists. His love and, all the things he thinks he's going to lose with this female, they're going to fight me at every turn. The only thing I can do is show that he's got nothing to worry about with me, and I'm just trying to support him. I'm not trying to change him. I'm trying to help him as a friend. None of your business says emotion overrides your reasoning centers. Lust has the same effect. Beware of that feeling in love. Feeling like a kid again. Yeah, exactly. Beware of that feeling like a child again. That's really dangerous, because if you enjoy feeling like a child, guess what the female is? She's not a girl you're playing with. She's your mother. And you want to do anything for mummy, so mummy loves you. I fell for it twice. I'll never go back, because when the disappointment comes, it comes like a knife through your heart. Exactly. Imagine what the feeling is that you come through that, and the feeling is that your mum left you or betrayed you or threw you away. Effectively, that's what it is. I so want to disagree with a Walt, but my experiences tell me otherwise. Yeah, in so many ways. A Walt. S. Shizzes. If after cold-hearted analysis and careful consideration, when he takes in multiple factors, for example, her disposition, her friends, her family, her virtue or lack thereof, her beliefs, her intellect, her work ethic, her goals, he does not completely trust her 100%, then he should strongly consider not marrying her. I agree. Even if she ticks all the boxes, he should still be wary. This is my thing. I'm very harsh on judging all of those things. A lot of people tell me, oh, you're being too hard, human. No one's perfect. No one's perfect. But if I'm going to make a decision that consumes the totality of my life and I cannot go back, and it's so big, the thing that I'm choosing, it's so much I'm going to be responsible for. I'm going to discern in all those factors: her friends, her work ethics, her empathy, her sympathy, the way she reacts to me when I need her. Is it automatic? Is it always surprisingly affectionate? Is it something I rarely see in day-to-day life, let alone any woman I've been with in my past? Like, you can't be, oh, well, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. It does. Perfection should be sought. Realistic perfection. I'm not saying ridiculous ones like, oh, she's left-handed, or she has a cat like my ex did, who was a bitch. I'm saying realistic perfection, approaching in all the factors that you consider to be vitally important in terms of a virtue of a person that shares yours. Be as perfect as you expect as much in terms of approaching perfection as you can, because it's the rest of your life, gentlemen. He continues. He gave a really great story, Shiraz. I can't talk about all of it, but thank you. Read it in the comments section. He continues, gentlemen, be intellectually honest with yourself. Work on bettering yourself. Read, pursue stimulating, interesting hobbies. Use your grey matter. Develop new neural pathways. pursue fellowship with other men. Yes, yes, yes. Thanks, John. Super chat I was talking about. Develop new neural pathways, pursue fellowship with other men, listen, learn, share knowledge, and pursue a higher path. My old Uncle Ben used to say, upstairs for thinking, downstairs for dancing. It's a great saying. Yeah, Uncle Ben was very smart. And who mentored him was very smart, and so forth. That's what we should be doing. I would add, think very carefully and dance with the utmost of caution. Better still, dance to the beat of your own drum. Amen. That's some really great advice. Thanks for sharing that, Shiraz. Crimson said, it's like dealing with pain. If you whack your finger with a hammer, you can't logic away the pain. This is an astute point. Whether it's euphoric love or it's depression, it's grief. It's like hitting yourself with a hammer. Someone could kind of tap you on the shoulder and start sort of quoting Marcus Aurelius about pain. You want to punch him in the face and say, can you shut up? I'm going through pain. I need consolation in a different way. That's a very important part. It says, P.S. I was burnt before, and the pain of former betrayal helps me mitigate fear. But that is, people who feel this pain before can now use it as a reference point and build logic upon it. Now we know and can reason what's stupid because we felt what consequences of being stupid is. Exactly. That's only if you've learned from your past. If you haven't, if like so many people you go, well, that was just bad luck. That was that moment. That was just an experience. Life is just the concatenation of luck and experience, and like just, it's just a stupid way of thinking. I know that there's so little we have control over, but in terms of learning from experiences, if you see something else that looks like a bear trap, you don't just say, well, this might not be a bear trap. I can't be that, critical about things. It's just, let me read the stream in case I miss something, because I feel awful when I do. John said, advice for future self: when she doesn't have an answer to your important question, there is a key in that. Exactly. So like one of the previous comments, they said, ask her, you take a look at her life, how she treats other people, her work ethic and so forth. When you ask her important questions, when you talk about scenarios, you have conversations about morals, and she comes up with a moral that makes you go, oh, Jesus Christ, that's a bit odd. That's a bit callous. That's a bit heartless. That's a bit cold. And she laughs at it. Don't think, oh, that's cute. It's like, no, that's going to be subjected to you. Don't ignore that, gentleman, because that will break your heart later. It has mine. It has many men. In fact, it probably will. If she's cold and heartless, she's just not going to be cold and heartless to everyone in the world but you. When it comes to the important things, that heartlessness will amplify. If she's a kind person, the kindness will amplify with you. Remember that. You are not going to avoid heartlessness with a woman. You are going to be subjected to it tenfold, because she can more with you. No, she said, I would say what I always say to myself in those situations. It's your choice between A and B. Imagine a situation when you decide A, imagine it went wrong. Would you regret it? What's probably going to happen? Repeat it for B. Which of those two are you going to regret more, and why? Yeah. You probably already know the answer. Trust your hunch. Yes, trust your hunch. Trust your instinct, gentlemen. They're not just feelings. They're your instinct. That's what helped men hunt in the past. It's what helped men recognize what danger was from a sound or the wind or the environment or patterns. Most importantly, never let other people make decisions for you. They are not going to take responsibility for it. Exactly. Especially women who don't like responsibility. They don't take it. They don't feel guilt. It is an awful combination. They are not going to care. They're not going to be responsible for whatever they say. You will, and they'll expect you to be. So take responsibility for yourself, because trusting her to be responsible for you, not going to happen. Am I blowing out in the highlights? Let me reduce the highlights. There we go. That's better. Ultimatums are a power move. Never be afraid to walk away if you are given one. Exactly. Exactly, JJ. Donna says, in terms of, I was talking about my father's passing. I think Donna as well had the passing of her fiance or husband. I can't remember which. She says, they're dead and you can't help the dead. Just make the cleanup of their life as stress-free as possible whilst in grief. Don't ruminate too much in the what ifs and I should have said, etc. Yeah. As I said, I prepared for my father's death, and that's the efficacy where it's important to develop your own philosophy and develop a philosophy of what would I say and how would I act if this situation happened, and if it's a situation that would most likely happen in your life. If you're with a woman, what will happen if one day you break up? Even if she's not a villain, if for some reason you have to part, how would you feel? What would you say? How would you handle it? How would you divide your life up? How would things be? Prepare for the worst, and then you can sleep easier. But yeah, with the death of someone, that's something you can't really prepare for. Only to a small degree, I was able to prepare for it, but the vast degree, I knew I just need to let grief wash over me and let it have its way with me. I couldn't intellectualize my way out of it. BSB26 says, whenever I see a male friend go through emotional turmoil in terms of women, I immediately go into tough love mode. So do I, because that's what I appreciate, but some people aren't like that. I give them the red pill advice I was denied. I try to be compassionate, but I can't help but see myself in other people. Me too. When women give ultimatums, I don't negotiate with terrorists. Good way of putting it. True. HBK96 says, listen to your stream earlier in the video. It made me think deeply about your friend's girlfriend giving him an ultimatum of marriage. Did your friend ever ask his girlfriend, why does she want to get married? Or why is marriage so important to her, etc., etc.? Yeah, I'm sure he did. I think more importantly, he's told her why he doesn't. He told her it's just a piece of paper. I don't want it. She doesn't care. She just wants what she wants. That's the important thing. That's the thing to keep an eye on. You can be forthcoming and give all the open and honest and vulnerable reasons why this is a sore spot for you and why you really don't want to do it. She doesn't care. I'm sure if he asked her, I think he has. I might actually mention that to him, but I don't think he would care. She would come up with nebulous reasons why. Oh, love is love, and it's about this bond and connection, and if you really loved me, and whatever, nebulous horseshit. But the concrete reasons by which a man needs to sort of justify it in his mind, to sort of go, well, if I am, give me something by which I can feel more secure in giving you what you want. But even so, like, I wouldn't do it, but she wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was easy. I didn't want children, what's the point of getting married? I'm pretty agnostic. What's the point? Sal G-Sing, actually, let me see the live stream. Thanks, Shinobi1. I appreciate the super chat. I think I would, Sal G says, I think I would say, why is she asking you to do this? Yeah, exactly. It sort of relates to the previous one. Ask her why. What are her reasons? As an open-ended question, and then use this answer to open up another line of questioning, which would be, why do you think this? The whole purpose isn't to question his decision, but to make him question his own logic and interpretation. Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, that's a useful way to go about things. If he doesn't want to do this, there may not be much you can do. I agree. It's a useful way to kind of make yourself the observer of the situation. Good point. Thanks, Sal. Basil Buth says, I'd say nothing. Yeah, you see, it's my friend. I can't. I care about him. If after I try as much as I can, it's your life. Yeah, I'll say nothing and wish him luck. But I can't say nothing. He's a friend. He's someone I care about. I think I said in a previous video, I wouldn't just sort of, if you're a father, you say, yeah, Junior, go play on the freeway. I don't care. You wouldn't say a thing. IV or number 4 says, it's actually a simple question. Don't put yourself in a place where you are ruled by your own or someone else's emotions. The hard part is staying in this place of logic. It is hard. It's very hard. Most of the time we don't live in logic. We live in the space of the animal brain, of instinct, of biology. Logic resides when we concentrate on things, and you can't really stay there because you'll be more and more neurotic. You don't engage with people enough. So there's this kind of balance with when it's time to concentrate and listen, and especially listen to yourself, which men aren't that practiced at. Okay, now it's darker. Which men aren't practiced at. That's, I think, the challenge of men, and where the benefits of the manosphere reside. The information is something you can internalize and then better your own decisions. Look at yourself, be in that logical state and operate there. A tennis match between reality and your logical state of what you know. Not, oh, it's this library at the back that's gathering dust, and I could go there and grab a book, but unless, you know, the crap really hits the fan, that's the only time I'm going to go into that library. And then, but then by the time that happens, it's too late. It's like, it's conscious exercising this information. Today, it's more pertinent than ever. VKRGFAN says, look, this is a female on my channel, which it doesn't bother me. You know, if you're civil, I have no problem with women on the channel. I wanted to include this because it's a comment that doesn't relate to men. Men don't think this way, and men don't operate this way. She says, if I was a man, I would tell my friend, I love you, man. I hope you are happy with your decision, and I don't want you to get hurt. Yeah, I've said, I hope you're happy. I'm not going to tell you what to do, and I don't want you to get hurt. But I'm not going to come out with kind of emotion. And my friend is very logical. This is where he's struggling. He's trying to live another life that's not him. He's trying to put on the suit of pure emotion that is not him at all. He's the most logical, almost socially awkward person I know, and he's trying to put on a suit of logic and unicorns and love and rainbows because it's something he's been denied since he's been a child. She says, I would suggest counseling for both of them and premarital education before they tie the knot. I strongly disagree. Beforehand, if you need to jimmy rig and manufacture a loving relationship to make you feel secure, I might as well just pick anyone in the street and let's go and psychologically jimmy rig our personalities and virtues so we can go. You might as well have an organized marriage. You two can't get along and you don't see eye to eye on the most important values. Why go to counseling beforehand? I strongly disagree. I think it's stupid. If you're not compatible calmly and without problems for a long time beforehand, there's no point. You're trying to force and manufacture an incompatible relationship. She says, if we'll either make their bond stronger or break it, because a lot of things can be revealed during that process. Look, after you've been married, you had children, there's a lot you don't want to let go of. You've invested a lot, perhaps. And a lot of times marriage counseling and psychologists and therapists might be able to help. Depends on the therapist you get. If she's biased, which most psychologists and therapists are, to the female, not the male, they see him as a guy who's done things wrong. He's not a worker. He's not the worker he should have been, and so forth. But beforehand, going through all that, no, I strongly disagree. It's the right thing to do. Many don't do it and regret it later. Afterwards, yeah. Beforehand, no. I would no more go to counseling before getting married, the need for counseling, than I would go to counseling before getting into a serious relationship. Structurally, it's the same thing. Why would I get serious with this person on this level or this level? Why would I take that step to commit? And it's all wrong. We can't get along. We can't see eye to eye. We can't communicate. We're unsure. It's not working, not fitting. Maybe some complete stranger can talk our way into it. I think it's rubbish. She may realize in counseling that she has toxic friends, peer pressure, blah, blah, blah. Friends, yeah. Don't care. If you need a complete stranger to tell you how stupid you are, your potential husband, he can't convince you, you fight him at every turn. No, that tells you a lot as well. If she needs some complete stranger to tell her about her personality and virtues, maybe it'd benefit the guy knowing that, like, oh, I can't get through to her, but this complete stranger on a couch can. Like, no, thank you. What, every time I have a problem, I have to hire a counselor? Counseling afterwards, yes, it can help. Beforehand, no. I think it's a complete wrong bit of advice, but I'm talking about from a male's point of view. But thanks for the comment, VK. They call me, hang on, let me, sorry if I'm not answering some of the normal questions in the chat, guys, but I'm trying to get through a lot of the ones that were left in the comment section yesterday, and if I have time, I'll get back to the thread. Chad Tyrone, thank you. He says, I caught my ex cheating through the phone and filed divorce papers 1 day later. Good for you. Friends accused me of giving up too easily and said I should have gone to counseling. Nah. I commend you for you standing up to what your former self would have done in that situation. I'm pretty sure if someone asked you before you got married and got with this chick, what would happen if you caught her cheating, I'm pretty sure you would have said this. And so, slow clap, mate. That's something many guys can learn from. Not the callousness, not the heartlessness, but the necessary heartlessness of following your principles. Good for you, man. They Call Me Cemetery said, I don't think the topic gets discussed enough. I agree. The fact that most men hardly even consider option C, so compared to marry her or don't marry her, is the self-destructive walk away button, one button that should always be considered first. Yeah, option C. What would happen if I say, I don't want any of this anymore? I'm just going to pull the pin on the whole thing. I can't see the reasons for, against. We can't see common ground. She won't see my point of view. I can't see hers. There's option C, walk away. Aegis, he had a really nice, considered response. He said a lot. Really grateful. Go read his response under yesterday's video, I think it was. But one thing he said that was really astute that I wanted to sort of convey here was, know why you hold a given belief. That's very important, gentlemen. Know why you hold a given belief. Like all the stuff you say, oh, well, if she ever did this, I would do this. That is very important. It's probably at the heart of your values, unless you're just talking a lot of bravado. But know why you hold a certain belief. So if you don't want to get married, you need to know why. That it's not just based on fear. If you do want something, know why, how it relates to your values. Rafi said, I'll probably give him the same advice I gave my fresh entrepreneurs. Hope you've got your exit strategy ready. Yes. Well, my friend is consulting a lot of his not divorce lawyers. He will need to do that later, I'm guessing. He's already consulted 2 of his lawyers to sort of buttress what is coming, to sort of put a suit of armor around the potential of what's going to happen. Finch H says, Steve McQueen said it best, I live for me and answer to no one. Art says, no one who actually loves you will give you an ultimatum. Exactly. Something we should tattoo into our psyches. Think about us. Do we give ultimatums to women? You know, we're always patient with them. They won't go out with us until they say yes. They won't give us a kiss until they want to. They won't go to bed with us. They won't. They even make their decisions seem like ours, as though they won't do it until until we get on one knee. They won't marry us. Just so much psychology. It has nothing to do with love and everything to do with control. Exactly. eyes wide open, says, I lost a friend of 20 years because I tried to jam it down his throat. This is what I was saying in the last video. I can't, with my friend, try to ram, red pill ideas down his throat, enlightened ideas, because he's in I can recognize what state he's in. He'll go the other way. He'll be left on his own, and he'll look to someone to confirm the biases of the romantic love he's feeling at the moment, even though he's really scared. He needs a friend to talk calm sense to him. He continues, I still talk to his brother, and he's pretty miserable now with 2 kids. Excuse me. He's completely submissive to her insatiableness, and she threatens him with divorce constantly. See? So if you know your friend, you know the person, ramming a religious way of conveying the thing down the person's throat will probably push them the other way. How would you feel if you're vulnerable and someone's just being heartlessly forceful with their point of view? You want to get out of there. You don't feel good about it. You feel like, I'm already vulnerable. I'm in pain. I'm insecure. I don't need all of this as well. I need sympathy. I need a hand on my shoulder. I need comfort. All right. Let's get to some of the questions on the stream. A traversable philosophy. Thank you for the donation, man. I appreciate it. All right. There's some really great comments yesterday. I'm sorry I couldn't go through all of them. There were so many. They were pretty much all the comments, and we've been going for nearly 50 minutes. So I'm just going to try and read some of the questions that stick out to me in the live chat, and then we'll call it a day. I think this was a nice meaty one. I might do some of these in response to a video that I think is kind of that should be done, because I think this should be pretty valuable to guys. Just a lot of wise wisdom that you would have given to yourself, words or phrases that really stuck out to you afterwards, after you've been through pain, or after you should have listened to yourself, and now you think, no, in the future I will remember this. Being able to share with other guys that trust you, friends, is an important thing. There's not enough mentoring going around between us as friends in real life and us like this. So Armand Ghost asked, what's today's topic? Is it Ask Human Anything? Now it is, but initially it was in response to yesterday's 2 videos. If you have a look, it was a really nice conversation on the back of me trying to give advice to my friend. He's about to propose to his missus. He's let her know that he's preparing to marry her. He's going to give her everything she wants because she's threatening to walk out, and he doesn't want her to leave. So it was on the back of that. But now I'll try and go through some of your questions, if I can see them, if they stand out in terms of if you've bracketed your questions with a whole bunch of emojis or symbols before and after. Ahmed Ghost says, don't rush to college. Try working this or that first and sort out what you really want, where you want to go before you pull any triggers. Yeah, that too, because sometimes you can kind of throw yourself in the direction of college where the 18-year-old you thinks you want to go, but you don't know much about yourself when you're a late teen or early 20s. You start to really come into focus as a person to yourself, looking in the mirror, when you're approaching 30 most times. I mean, that was for me. I hear it commonly from other guys. So it's the rare individual that knows himself at a young age, late teens and early 20s. If that's you, hats off, but most guys don't learn themselves until the testosterone starts to fade, which is usually around 30, where women aren't as much of a drug as they used to be. Human, do you ride motorcycles? No, but I've been close a few times, and I work as a designer within the motorcycle industry, so I'm around motorcycles all the time. Beautiful machines. I'm always tempted, very tempted. Um, but I think I like the idea of motorcycles at the moment still more than actually riding them, because I think about my life and then how I move around. Um, for me to go most places to visit the people in my life that I care about, to go to work, I'll always need to go on a freeway. And there's just a lot of factors that they're just too risky. But I love motorcycles. They're one of my kryptonites. Thanks for everyone that turned up. Well, we got a nice little turnout. Nice little casual hangout for me on a Sunday here in Australia. I know I'm in the future, compared to most of you guys. It's probably Saturday night for the majority of you guys, especially in the US. Jeff asks, I'd be interested to know your MBTI type. If you know it and are comfortable sharing it, try to figure out if there are any certain types more likely to be red pilled. I remember when the Myers Briggs thing first came out, I looked at it because it was being talked about, but I don't really take it too seriously. I couldn't remember what my type was. I couldn't tell you honestly. Sorry. It's not that I'm worried about sharing it, but if I come across it in the future, I'll try and remember it and I'll let you know. But I don't pay much attention to it. I don't think it's anything that we should hang our hat on in terms of being able to calibrate our analysis of other people. It's fashionable now. Human. Klaus says, could you state the difference between morals and ethics? From what I understand, and people have different opinions, morals has to do with you and other people, society, the morals of society. Like, so ethics are more to do with you, the rules to which you adhere. Morals are morals are pretty much your ethics applied to society and how you relate cooperatively. That's the way I see it. I could be wrong, but that's over and over, like in the literature and how I hear it expressed and how it's discussed. Ethics is very much you, more subjective. Morals is more objective and related to society, how you relate cooperatively and fairly and so forth. I expect, Mr. Highway says, I expect deception from women, but men can go feral on you too in order to feed their sexual addiction. Yeah, men can turn on you. And because of women, which is even more insulting. It's sometimes it's sort of the knife goes deep, like you never would have expected it from a male or a friend, whereas you can expect it from women. Even it is betrayal from women. You love a woman, but from a guy, it's alien. It's like seeing a pig fly. It's it really knocks you for six. That's an Australian term. It just means it really surprises you. I've had friends turn on me. How do you keep your heart from becoming numb to the world? Just like women, accept them for what they are. Accept that men can turn on you for women that they love when they're in the drug-like, euphoric, romantic state. Like my friend, I can expect him to turn on me if I don't approach him the right way, because he's in that state. I remember when I was in my early 20s, I conversationally turned on my parents a couple of times when I was with an awful girl, but I was young and naive, and I verbally was defending her and the relationship, and you don't know what she's like. Yeah, they did. I just didn't. I was young and naive. She was exactly what they warned me about, but I was defending them. So you translate that when you're defending what you value, what you love. It's expressed sometimes in anger, and the claws come out to other people that just mean the best for you. There's just no substitute for face-to-face. I agree. Armored Ghost, human, your favorite styles or types of cars? Unsurprisingly, given the greys, I like old muscle cars. I'm a Chrysler, Pontiac, Ford person. Not so much a GM person, but I do appreciate them. 442s, mainly because of the power, but I think it's an ugly car. GTs. The new Cobras are good, but mainly things like the old 69, is it the Plymouth Roadrunner? Here in Australia, look them up. They were fantastic. When I was too young to drive, by the time I got to the age of driving, they banned the cars because they were too powerful. But I grew up in the 70s, and my dad had muscle cars like the Ford XB GT. I personally like the XA GT Coupe. But my all-time favorite is, if you look it up, is the Ford Landau Coupe. It's basically in the shape of an XA GT, built here in Australia. Fantastic, powerful car. But old muscle cars are my favorite. Modern cars today, I actually like rally type hatchbacks. So I really like that look of car, but I still prefer not prefer, but I still appreciate and like things like the new Cobra. Really big supercars, yeah. But I'm not really into things like the Veyron, even though I can appreciate its power and it's one of the best and things like that. But what is your take on male mother need? Something Stardust has talked about. Yeah, it's evident, whether you want to call it Freudian. I said before, most men turn into children around women. I think it's a very much a male mother Freudian thing where you want to be open, you want to be vulnerable to a person. We do it to an extent with our friends, close friends, but there's never that euphoric, vulnerable openness and complete honesty like that just kind of indescribable feeling you can have, where a woman you completely trust has her head on your shoulders and you think, this is fantastic. I feel most relaxed and alive here. Nothing else matters. It's almost a meditative state. So I understand it. I don't know if it's actually a need for mother. It's TFM described it as male vulnerability need once, I think. But I think there is something about that I definitely would say is true. If she is so powerful in the relationship before he gets legally entangled with her, how much more powerful would she legally and emotionally be once he's legally hers? I see red flags, exactly. My friend, objectively, is very powerful, insular, and he's his own man. She has nothing, really, no power other than what she gives her. He even bought her a Mercedes as a girlfriend a couple of years ago. She works, right? So she's not sort of doing nothing. But once he ties the knot, yeah, that power dynamic, and he knows it, which is why he's getting a lot of lawyers involved. So why would you hand someone a gun? Oh, but really, you should be giving me a gun because that's what I want and I promise I'll never use it. But wouldn't our relationship be really secure if you just handed me a gun? That's what every woman wants. Why do you want a gun? because I don't get one. Why do you want a gun? I'm afraid. Yeah, so am I. Melon Bella says, you seem to wisely shy away from political questions. Any suggestion on incorporating political indifference in going your own way? I don't think there's much immediate efficacy in the political discussion. Some guys, that's all they talk about. The collapse, preparing for, the post-apocalyptic sort of world, prepping and all those things, and they're useful. I don't think they're completely stupid. But it's kind of like, yeah, you don't have any values, you can't speak, you're not intelligent, how you relate to people, you don't really have any friends. I think you need to get yourself right, and then with that, be your own leader, and then you might be able to lead or inform other people and apply those values. But if you don't take care of yourself, like what makes you think you can take care of other people or solve the world's problems? It's megalomaniacal. It's I wouldn't trust anyone like that. Their life is a mess and they're a mess, but they can lead me or give me suggestions about the world. I don't think so. Women love to do that too. They're a mess, but they can tell you as a man what to do and what you should do. And we need to buy a house here, and you need to buy this car, and we need to change the drapes and the new couch, and we need to go on holiday, and Junior needs to go. Like it's just stupid. Okay. Healthy Quadrant. How does it feel to know that you have more subs than Rollo Tomasi? Do I? I don't know. I like to keep a lot of guys don't show their subs, and I kind of get it. I think some of them, it's like taking the target off their back in terms of, the algorithm, political correctness, which I kind of get. I'm not as, my stuff I don't think is as blunt as some other guys, and I don't fault them for it. Like I like watching a lot of content that's very blunt and a bit risque because it gets to the heart of things. What I like to talk about is more sort of philosophical and introspective. I don't think mine is really anything you can point to that's really offensive. But I like to keep my numbers up there just to kind of show. If you notice lately, I've just been hovering around 48, 49,000 for almost a year, and I keep getting my subs cut. You guys don't keep getting informed about my videos, no matter if you hit the bell icon. So it's kind of just a way of showing, like, yeah, look how my growth has just been throttled. A wall has been put in front of it, because up until about a year ago, I've been incrementally, steadily moving up. The last week and a half, I've pumped out heaps of videos and I've gone down. I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, F you. Yeah. Metaphysically, multiplying logic by emotions is like multiplying by zero. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Prof Doc said, have your friend and the lady watch your video sell marriage to me. No, I think that'll sort of tell her, make her say, see, that's your friend. I told you what he's like. And he'll say, yes, dear. He may not, but I don't want to risk losing a good friend because of a decision he wants to make for himself. Where do you think women will end if a majority of men walk away? The majority of men won't walk away. Biology will make sure of that. And women's survival instincts will make sure of that, even to the degree of, like, I'm not a feminist anymore. Yeah, I hate feminists. And men have short memories where they're hormones are involved. It's like, oh, now women have changed for us. See, now they're submissive. No, they're not. How do you feel about MGTOW becoming more mainstream? I don't know if it is. Is it? I was thinking of making another video, but I don't know if there's enough for a video. The reason I haven't labelled myself MGTOW in so long is because years ago, when I did see myself more as the verb of what MGTOW is, like a man going his own way, doing his own thing. You know, I'm not the group. I'm my own man that talks around the campfire of MGTOW. That's the way I've seen it. MGTOW is a campfire. MGTOW is a hashtag that I can find other simpatico men to talk about these things that we find important. It's interesting now. I've noticed a few videos how everyone seems to define MGTOW, and sometimes I can't fault them for it, because have a look at the majority of guys who wear the MGTOW t-shirt, and all they talk about is everything's about women. It's all about women. It's not men in relation to women. It's just about women. And I'm a subscriber to, say, Bass FCZ, and a recent video he was talking about why he doesn't co-sign with MGTOW or the red pill or black pill or whatever. And because he hasn't sort of really been in that arena, he's on board with most of the talking points, and he agrees with a lot of them. He doesn't want to be part of them because he defines just the red pill now, not just MGTOW or any of that. He defines most of the manosphere as, oh, well, they talk about women in this respect, and these guys think about women in terms of the legal system and the unfair. So it's always about women, about women, about women. Whereas the old school, the reason I started making videos and the discussions I was having with men that have gone through experiences, it was more talking about, if it was about women, it was about them in relation to you. It wasn't just about women and hypergamy. It was about male mother need. So it was about you as well in relation to women. So there was a focus on men. There was that tennis match. Now it's just this empty male shell of an observer going, women, unfair laws, hypergamy, she'll leave you. It's like her. It's like always external. There is very little internal. And that's why I personally don't label myself that anymore, because it misrepresents me given the majority of content out there. There's no quality control. And again, people can make any content they want, but I don't want them to judge me now as a MGTOW or a red pill or anything like that. I want them to judge me as human. You know, you got a question, if you want to sort of define me as something, ask me something and I'll tell you exactly the person I am. Don't define me by conveniently plucking out and cherry picking the worst aspects and the worst videos of people in certain groups, or cherry picking an old video of mine like years ago when the environment was very different. Ask me who I am now and I'll give you the answer to the questions you want. So anyway, that was my roundabout answer. Why are strip clubs still a thing? I don't know. Maybe for older guys? I don't understand the appeal of throwing money at chicks but not being able to touch them. Me either. I can't even understand. Maybe it's the same. They've moved from strip clubs to sort of these Twitch streamers and thoughts and just throwing money at these women. They basically just want a relationship experience, but they're satisfied with the distance of the relationship. They don't need it. They just like the feeling. I don't know really. But I think maybe those guys that like strip clubs now like throwing money at women on streams. That's my guess. I think okay, I'm getting to the end of the questions on the stream, then we'll wrap it up, guys. Show your friend Terence Pop's video on hookers being a lot cheaper than wives. It's funny for us, but a guy, he's dealing with something serious. If I show him Terence Pop, he's going to think I'm making light of it. This is a serious decision for him. He doesn't want comedy. I can't show him Bill Burr, a stand-up comedy to kind of elucidate truths for him. I have to be cold and horizontal because that is how he's speaking to me. He's being very serious. He's very worried. I can't introduce levity, or as little as possible. I can't make light of the situation because it is serious. What should men prioritize the most when going their own way? In their 30s and 40s to 80 is a long time, and the casual sex dating is less appealing, given 100 plus count partner women being the new norm. Yeah, women have slept around a lot. The more, I think Stefan Molyneux said, the more sexual partners you got, like it rapidly decreases your chances of having a long-term committed relationship. I think it applies to men and women. Ours is in terms of seeing exactly what women are like and no longer having the rose-colored glasses on. For them, it's about getting used to constantly recycling their youth and perpetually always looking for Prince Charming, even though they're not. They're just stuck in the pattern. So for them, the pattern's different for us. Ours is we lose interest. For women is they just get stuck in the potential of finding Mr. Right, and the longer they do it, they up their standards. In their eyes, it's like, I'm in my 40s. I didn't wait this long just to settle. I've negated all these guys in my 20s and 30s that better be the top tier guy now. So their psychology is very different around dating than ours, I'd say, in general. But yeah, age helps, your testosterone lowering, and you're kind of grateful that you're not blindly as horny as like a juvenile anymore. You can actually kind of see like, whoa, that's a red light. Whereas before it was like, ooh, good, I'm uncomfortable, translates into exciting, insecure, horny sex or whatever. But now it's kind of like, no, that's dangerous. That's got nothing to do with sex. That's life ruining. Okay, I think if we stop, excuse me, questions now. Thank you everyone for chiming in. I hope you got a lot out of this. Thanks, EC, for the donation. Maybe stop with the super chats because I'm going to feel guilty again because there's a delay here. I'm about 20 to 30 seconds ahead of all you guys chatting, just so the quality of this when it's uploaded is as good as I can get it. Yeah, if we can stop the questions now. EC said, simply find your own way and go on it. Cheers, human, for your content that addresses authenticity and individuality. Thanks, and thanks for the donation. I'll keep doing it if you guys keep chiming in and supporting the channel. Share my work. Support me any way you can, guys, like whatever way you're able to. Keep the conversation going. I'm really grateful for like the quality of subs I have and the stories you guys leave. And I've had a few times guys say like the quality of you guys talking in the comments is sometimes even better than the videos themselves, which is really good. So keep that sort of community in the comments. Keep the hygiene going. Don't feed the trolls. Ignore them. Don't feed them. And just keep sharing good information and support my work and my channel any way you can, guys. And just let's try and spread the mentoring around. Create your own videos. Don't be afraid to. Anyway, thank you, gentlemen. I think we'll wrap it up there. It's been just over an hour, which I think is a good place to leave it. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye, guys.